We will call to order the council meeting for Tuesday, February 7th. Our prayer tonight will be given by the Reverend Kenny Chapman and our pledge by Missy Jandura, the Director of Donaldsonville Downtown Development District. If everyone would stand, please.
Like everyone to bow their head. Father, in the name of Jesus, we thank you tonight, Lord, for this meeting. And dear God, we ask that you take full control over this meeting. And dear God, in the name of Jesus, we thank you for our parish presidents and the council members. And we ask that you guide their thoughts, that they will make the right decision. And Father, we ask that you bless this meeting in a special way tonight, that there will be unity and one. Can two people walk together and agree? I believe it, Lord. Lord, let Ascension Parish grow to the leaps and the bounds, and let us look forward where we can go where we need to go and be where we need to be. In Jesus' name, amen.
And also, it's with a heavy heart that I announce that Councilman Shake Snyder's mother has passed away today. I would like to take a moment of silence, if we could, and offer special prayers for he and his family. Thank you. Missy, will you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call. Cinnamon, all council members present with the exception, obviously, of Councilman Shake Snyder and Councilman Malawsaw. There will be no chair's additions. Public comment sign-in period reminder, if you want to speak on any item on the agenda, now is the time to sign up. Please come sign in with Cinnamon, and you'll have 3 minutes. After that, the sign-in period will be closed. The presentations section, our first is 5A, Proclamation for Joseph and Bina Matassa Day in Ascension Parish. President Martinez.
I'm going to ask the Matassa family to come up, please. Of course, these are two special people. They're the mother and father of Kenny Matassa and several other Matassas around in the city of Donaldsonville. But Kenny works for us, and now we all know where Kenny got his height from, Mr. Joe and Miss Bina. But anyway, it's a special night tonight, and we want to honor these two fine, outstanding citizens of Ascension Parish who's been here a few years. And Mr. Joe is a veteran, World War II, and I've gone to many events where VFW, American Legion, and he's done a lot for his community here in the city of Donaldsonville, and also for Ascension Parish. So tonight we want to honor them on their 65th wedding anniversary, and I have a proclamation here to proclaim February 7th, 2012 as Joseph Matassa Jr. and Bina Sotil Matassa Day in Ascension Parish. Whereas Joseph Matassa Jr. was born on February 2nd, 1923 in Donaldsonville, to Joseph Matassa Sr. of Cefalù, Sicily, and Rosa Leona Matassa of Donaldsonville. And whereas Bina Sotil Matassa was born on February 21st, 1925 in Donaldsonville, Louisiana, to Frank Sotil Sr. of Donaldsonville and Rosa Mastretta Sotil of Corleone, Sicily. And whereas Joseph graduated from Holy Cross High School in New Orleans and worked for his family business in New Orleans and Donaldsonville before attending LSU. And whereas Bina graduated from St. Vincent's Institute in Donaldsonville and worked at Mastretta and Sotil Candy Manufacturing and Matassa's Electrical and Furniture Store, where she met Joseph. And whereas Joseph, already a member of the LSU ROTC, was called to duty during World War II to serve with the 293rd Field Artillery Observation Battalion as Master Sergeant in Normandy, France, in the Battle of the Bulge in 1945. And whereas following an honorable discharge from the U.S. Army, Joseph returned to Donaldsonville and married Bina on February 5th, 1947, at the Ascension of Our Lord Catholic Church, with Father Labite presiding. And whereas through their blessed union, 5 children were born, 1 daughter, Ann Matassa, Edwin Reeves, 4 sons, Joy, married to Christine Rock, Kenny, married to Selma Guyat Matassa, David, married to Ramona Luna Matassa, and Michael Matassa, along with 13 children and 12 great-grandchildren. Whereas on February 5th, 2012, following a special blessing given by Father Michael Galia, Joe Jr. and Bina Matassa celebrated their 65th wedding anniversary surrounded by their loving family. Now therefore be it proclaimed, I, Tommy Martinez, President of the Parish of Ascension, State of Louisiana, by the virtue of the authority vested in me, do hereunto proclaim Tuesday, February 7th, 2012, as Joseph Jr. and Bina Matassa Day in Ascension Parish, and make them honorary parish presidents on this day, urging our citizens to accord them all respect and honors due to honorary holders of this high office. Joe? Also, while y'all up here, the Mayor of Gonzales has sent a proclamation, and then I'll call on the Mayor of Donaldsonville. But City of Gonzales, State of Louisiana proclamation. Whereas Joseph Matassa Jr. was born on February 2nd, 1923 in Donaldsonville, Louisiana, to Joseph Matassa Sr. of Cefalù, Sicily, and Rosa Leon Matassa of Donaldsonville. And whereas Bina Matassa was born on February 21st, 1925 in Donaldsonville, Louisiana, to Frank Sotil Sr. of Donaldsonville. I think this pretty much reads like my other one. So I'll dispense here and just say that on behalf of Mayor Barney Arsenault, the City of Gonzales, and all the citizens of Ascension Parish, again, we want to congratulate you for being, not only having 65 great years together, glorious years, as I was told, that, you know, you're special to us, and we want to make this day special for you, not only in Ascension Parish, but all over the cities in Ascension Parish. So this is from the city, and this is the key to the City of Gonzales. And I'm going to call upon Mayor Leroy Sullivan of Donaldsonville to give us another special certificate.
Good evening. As Thomas stated, the proclamations all read basically the same, so I'm not going to read the proclamation, but I would just like to say to Mr. Joe and Ms. Bina that, you know, we are happy that you're a part of the City of Donaldsonville, and we salute and applaud you for 65 years of being together in marriage. Truly, that means that y'all took serious Matthew's, the 10th chapter and the 9th verse, where it says, what God has put together, let no man put asunder, or let no man separate. So I know that through all of the ups and downs, it is truly love that keeps people together for such a long period of time. And I'm reminded of a few years ago when you, Mr. Joe, was by your building, used to be the old Sears and Roebuck store, and you were going up a ladder a lot faster than I could, and you and your was in your middle 80s at the time. And I wasn't worried about you going up the ladder, but I was a little bit concerned about you coming down. So I called Kenny and told him, I said, I might be overstepping my boundaries, but this is what is going on. And he took care of the situation. So I can say that I took part in making sure that you were able to make 65 years. So, you know, I just want to say that, you know, we appreciate you in the City of Donaldsonville. We appreciate all that you have done in the years that have passed, and we appreciate what you're going to do in the future, because we know with the American Allegiance, you've always been active and always been there. I know as time goes on, you slow down, but it seems like you always keep, just like that ever-ready bunny, just keep going and going and going. So with the power that's invested in me, I proclaim the day as Mr. Joseph Matassa Jr. and Ms. Dina Matassa Day in the city of Donaldsonville.
Mr. Joe, you want to say a couple words here? You're more than welcome.
Well, we just go through it. Thank you so much.
As far as my heart goes out to, I think about this courthouse here that I had a Sears Roebuck, when I had my Sears Roebuck business right here.
A block away.
A block away down here on Railroad Avenue. And I recall things for the past that it's been, the only thing I can say is not just because I'm a Catholic, I'm trying to continue my retired religion as was as a parishioner, you know, right here for the Ascension Parish.
We've been blessed.
And we've been blessed with the Lord. Okay.
Yes, sir. But
Thank you. You want to take
Thank
a
you.
picture?
My first boss.
There we go. Thank you. Thank you. All right, I got you covered. Yes, ma'am.
All right, item 5B, the Ascension Catholic High School 2011 Class 1A State Cross Country Champions.
Okay. Ask the team to come up, please, and the coach. Coach, all these fine fellas.
Few of the baseball games, they couldn't make it.
All righty. What I'm going to do is I'm going to read one proclamation, and then we'll call each young man up and present him with a certificate. And, on behalf of the parish and council, everybody, we're proud of all of you guys for attaining the highest award that you can cross country, winning the state championship. And not many people can say that in their lifetime that they've won a state championship. So you all should be proud. We're proud of you, and we want to recognize you tonight with just a token of our appreciation for representing the parish well. Okay, let's see. We have Patrick Brew. This certificate is hereby awarded to Patrick Brew, Ascension Catholic High School Cross Country Team, 2011, Louisiana Class 1A State Champions. The Parish of Ascension is proud to present this certificate of achievement to Patrick Brew and the 2011 Ascension Catholic High School Cross Country Team. The Bulldogs were Class 1A State Championship champions under head coach Rocky Capella. We join Council Chairman Chris Lohr and the entire Parish Council in congratulating these young men for their extraordinary effort. Congratulations, Patrick.
Thank you.
We'll take a picture after. Okay. Next is Nick Wow. Nick, okay. Trey Capella, I bet he's here. Congratulations. Jesse Hood? Jesse. Congratulations, Jesse. Lee Hu. Okay. Sam Mattingly. Okay. Zach Capella. Jordan Zerang. Jordan. Joseph Landry. Logan Thibodeau. Congratulations. Thomas Daigle. Luke Spano. Congratulations. Matthew Landry. Matthew Kennedy. Aaron Landry. There. And finally, Coach Rocky Capella. Congratulations. Coach, you want to say a few words?
On behalf of the Ascension Catholic Cross Country team and on behalf of our school, we certainly appreciate the invitation, honoring the kids who worked so hard this year. It's the first time we've ever won a state championship in cross country. We had pretty much an amazing year, running, I think, the fastest times ever in Class 1A, not only in the school history. I know we look small. We have a bunch of our older guys who aren't here because they're on the high school baseball team, but we've got some good young kids, and our older ones are just amazing. So, Councilman Joseph, we certainly appreciate you asking us to be here, and Tommy. It really means a lot to the kids. They were excited when I told them that they were going to be coming. To them, y'all look like Congress and the president. So I know how I felt when I was a little kid and whenever I got honored like this, and we just certainly appreciate it, all the recognition, and the kids are going to continue to work hard, and hopefully we get invited next year.
Next year.
Yeah, we hope so.
That's great. Thank you. Congratulations. We'll take a picture. Whoever wants to get wet.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oliver, stay up here. I got the teacher of the year, Mr. Brian Richardson.
All right, next up we have item 5C, Certificate of Achievement for the 2011-2012 Teacher of the Year from Donaldsonville High School, Brian Richardson.
Mr. Richardson?
Brian Richardson, yes.
Congratulations. Okay. Certificate of Achievement. This certificate is hereby awarded to Brian Richardson, 2011-2012 Teacher of the Year, Donaldsonville High School. The Parish of Ascension is proud to present the Certificate of Achievement to Brian Richardson for being named 2011-2012 Teacher of the Year at Donaldsonville High School. Mr. Richardson is in his 13th year as an educator, where he teaches African American Studies and American History. He also coaches basketball, football, and track. We join Council Chairman Chris Law and the entire Parish Council in congratulating Brian Richardson for all you do and have done to make a positive impact on the youth of Ascension Parish. Mr. Richardson, we appreciate you.
Thank you, guys, and Downsville High School sends their love, and we truly appreciate you giving me the opportunity to accept this award. And I'm truly humbled at this meeting because I teach American history, and we always learn about World War II, and have a real live World War II veteran here. You know, he truly deserves the standing ovation and round of applause. You know, so I was humbled just by being in his presence. And I just appreciate everything you guys do for Downsville High School, and we're going to try to continue our hard work and make things better in Ascension Parish and in Downsville. But like you said, I'm also the basketball coach, so I'll have a game in about 5 minutes.
On the other side, oh, Jim.
Okay. Next item is Parish President's Report. President Martinez?
The only thing I want to report on, you may have read some stories this week about the Balloon Festival and the possibility of it coming to Lamar Dixon here in Ascension Parish. I just want to let you know that we're going to work diligently to make that happen, and hopefully we can be successful. But, you know, I think it would be a wonderful event for the citizens and for the area, and it would also ties into our theme at Lamar Dixon as far as quality of life events, and I just think it would be something spectacular. And maybe I'd ask for a resolution from the council, and I'll sign it myself to send to the Balloon Festival Association, and asking them to please consider.
I have a motion from Councilman Randy Cluett and a second from Councilman Benny Johnson to offer a resolution in support of the parish president's efforts to move the Balloon Festival to Ascension Parish.
I'd like to recognize Mr. Brad Walker, who's worked with us diligently on the Festival of Festivals, and he's been working hard with the association and the board to help this event happen here. And we hopefully are successful, and I know Brad's going to do everything he can do, and we're going to do everything that we can do. But I just wanted to mention that, and I appreciate it. Unless Brad has a few words he wants to say.
Let us know what we can do, Brad.
Mr.
One
Walker?
thing I have done is set up a Facebook page that's helped move Ascension, the Balloon Festival to Ascension. If you go there and like that page, it shows that the support that we have around here to actually move the Balloon Festival. That's something that the Balloon Foundation would look at, saying how much support do they have in Ascension Parish. So if anybody can go to that Facebook, just search on Move the Balloon Festival to Ascension page, and then like that page, it just kind of gives them a number of how many people actually, you know, want the Balloon Festival here. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Walker. Certainly appreciate your efforts, and Parish President, let us know if there's anything we can do to assist. Any other discussion? Any objection? That resolution passes. Item number 7 is the consent agenda. The chair would entertain a motion to move the consent agenda.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Councilman Todd Lambert.
Second.
Second by Councilman Benny Johnson. Any objection? So moved. Item number 8 is the Personnel Committee recommendations. Before we call on Councilman Todd Lambert for 8A, I do have a number of speakers. Our first speaker is Catherine Guppel.
Good evening. It is not surprising that the chairman and the Personnel Committee have stacked the deck for the 7 appointments to the Planning and Zoning Commission. What is surprising is the way that it was done. The process violated your own bylaws, lacked consistency, and was discriminatory. After following bylaws for 8 years, the Personnel Committee deviated from standard operating procedures that required each applicant to fill out a 1-page application and submit a resume within a deadline and attend an interview. New to the process, applicants were asked to answer 20 questions from persons outside the committee. Were these individuals put in the mix to legitimize the outcome? The committee did Use the input from the 20 questions applicants answered in the interviewing process. At one point, one applicant turned to Councilman Shakespeare and asked, "Is that what you want me to say?" It is sad that a flawed process has tainted good men. Most telling was the fact that after close to 8 hours of interviewing 23 applicants, members of the Personnel Committee spoke not one single word of discussion or deliberation before ranking the top 10 applicants. 13 applicants were not ranked at all. Were minds made up before the process began? It appears so. After your regular January 5th meeting, Chairman Lohr informed me that he thought I would approve of the picks for the commission. Was this entire process one big charade? Though recommended applicants may have qualifications and skill sets, one disturbing thread is common. Many have a negative view of the public, even to the point of suggesting in interviews that the public should not be included in the process. Is this the spirit of cooperation we can expect from the new council? The actions of the previous council clearly demonstrated an arrogant, defiant governing body that did not want to work with the people. Is this the kind of relationship you as a new council want to continue? You cannot build trust without being consistent in your application of laws and treating everyone fairly. I seriously question the legality of the process, and apart from violating your own bylaws, you have violated the public's trust. How will you restore that trust? I'd like these comments entered into the public record in the body of the meeting. Thank you.
Okay, next up we have Mr. Milton Kluat.
Thank you, Council, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank those that were sitting on the council when I was appointed a year and a half ago. It was a very rewarding, even though it had some controversial issues, it was very rewarding, and I enjoyed it. And if I'm ever asked to serve again on any type of body, I will think hard about it. Mr. Chairman, I asked one question, and I'd like for you to not say answer it right now, but I heard through the so-called grapevines and confirmed by 4 other councilmen that you had not wanted any of the former commissioners sitting back on the commission. And if that's so, I would have appreciated that if you would have come to me and asked me, Mr. Kluat, we don't want you back on it. Would you please not apply again? And I would respect you more then. So please set the record straight, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Next up, Mr. C.J. Lambert.
Good evening, Council, Mr. Chairman. I come up tonight, I want to first say I have no ill feelings toward any of the council or the parish president, but I was disappointed in the December meeting. I felt it was unprofessional, the way that it went on. The Plan and Zoning Commission was abolished without even a discussion. Not one councilman came up with any discussion, and it was done very quickly, and it appeared to be some sneaky things going on. For one thing, one of the councilmen didn't even know it was on the agenda. I think that's really unprofessional, like I said. Also, 48 out of the 50 people that spoke opposed to abolishing the old zoning commissioners. 9 of them. I felt they did a great job. I don't know why they got abolished. But I just have disappointment. This is my first experience with the parish council or with politics, period, for that matter. But it's been very disappointing. The fact that the voting on this thing had to be done in December and not January is what really puzzled me. There were some elected council members that did not get to vote on it, and this takes place in their term, not the previous term. This action was voted on by, I guess you could say, a lame duck council. Some of them were defeated in the election. To me, I would use common courtesy. If I was the parish president, I would speak up and I'd say, listen, councilman, we're going to have this meeting in January so that these newly elected people can vote on it. I don't think one person came out of that meeting in December without saying, you know, I think there was something sneaky going on in here. So therefore, it shouldn't have been done. It should have been postponed to January. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Billy Aguilar.
Thank you, Chairman Lure, Councilman, Council Lady. First of all, let me congratulate all the newly elected councilmen and Council Lady and all the re-elected councilmen. You have a difficult task ahead of you for the next 4 years, and I know you're up to it, and good luck to all of you. Those of you on the Personnel Committee, I think y'all did a fine, wonderful job nominating the nominees you have here tonight for the Planning and Zoning Commission. They're all a bunch of qualified individuals. They're great citizens of Ascension Parish. I hope you affirm them tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, those are all the speakers. Item 8A, Personnel Committee recommendations, approval of 7 new members of the Planning and Zoning Commissioner, Personnel Chairman Todd Lambert.
Mr. Chairman?
Sorry, actually, before we have a discussion, we need to have a motion on the floor, and I'm going to let
I have a prepared
Chairman.
statement. It's more in the form of discussion before we move to.
Okay. Well, per procedure, we usually need to have a motion, so before we open up the floor for discussion. So
Proceed.
after Chairman Lambert goes through the motion, then we can do that. Chairman Lambert?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There was a little bit of controversy on this procedure, process that we went through, but we got it all approved through legal as far as how we did it. We did not use the outside advisory support as far as ranking. The committee itself did their own ranking. They may have used some of the questions in the applicants in the interviews, but that was all as far as the outside group took place. We did bring 10 names to the council because in the past we have brought some, and some councilmen wanted some alternates or had some other, and that's their choice. This is the top 10 that we bring into the council, and that's why we brought 10. In case someone wanted an alternate, they're here, which in order. So at this point, we're going to vote on them individually. We'll start with the top and go from there. The first one is Mr. Robert Burgess, who came out, and the committee recommended him as number 1 on the list.
Make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
I have a motion by Councilman Benny Johnson
Second.
and a second by Councilwoman Terry Casso for Robert Burgess. Any discussion? Councilman Satterley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As several of the public has spoke this afternoon, Mr. Chairman, I too have some concerns about the procedures and processes that underlie the recent selection of the recommended applicants, the Planning and Zoning Commission. Please recall, sir, that shortly after your January 8th email to the council describing your intent to use the Stakeholders Advisory Group, I left a message in your voicemail that I felt strongly that the process envisioned was fraught with problems and pitfalls, so the prepared statement I'm reading here tonight is entitled Problems and Pitfalls. Although you acknowledged the receipt of my message, and I thank you for that, via another voicemail, there was no follow-up on my concerns. It is my understanding that other councilmen voiced their concerns as well, but I'll leave it up to them tonight if they choose to speak out or not. For me, first and foremost, I simply cannot understand why we do not follow our SOPs as outlined in the council's bylaws. Indeed, I believe that the establishment of a stakeholder advisory group constitutes an ultra vires act. If so, this means that you have, despite from what I have been told over the objection of the Personnel Committee's leadership, directed processes that go beyond the scope of the powers granted to our membership in our bylaws. In other words, ultra vires actions. It is my strong belief that without a vote of the entire council, our bylaws cannot and should not be circumvented. From what I can ascertain throughout the stakeholder group outsider review process, your two email communications to them on January 8th and the 18th were forwarded to the full council, myself included, but only to keep us, quote, in the loop, unquote. My constituents in District 4 did not elect me to be kept in the loop, but to be part of the process. Mr. Chairman, our bylaws describe a specific process that has been in place for almost 10 years, a process that gives strict initial responsibility and specific guidelines to the council's personnel committee for making recommendations for appointments to parish boards. To my knowledge, never before has the council solicited input from outside our body to advise us in making selections for any boards. Just as one example alone, why was this process, the use of an outside advisory group, not employed by the Personnel Committee with the most recent appointment of Mr. Mikey Bro to our Board of Adjustments? Worse, I believe the involvement of the outside government officials and the representatives of business constitute a violation of Louisiana Open Meetings Law at RS 42 4.2, which defines a public body as, quote, a village, a town, a city, parish governing authority, public boards such as schools and levies, commissions and authorities, and any body possessing policy-making, advisory, or administrative functions. And I emphasize the word advisory, so we called it an advisory group. According to Louisiana Attorney General Opinion 05-0317, advisory groups, quote unquote, created by a political subdivision qualify as public bodies within the meaning of the Open Meetings Law. Considering the stakeholder advisory group is a public body, it follows then that they are subject to Open Meetings Law. This means then that not only should the full council have been involved in the formation and charge of the stakeholders advisory group, but public input should have been solicited as well. The makeup of the stakeholders group included business, public school, law enforcement, and legal entities. All were asked to submit questions for use in the screening the commission applicants. Why were no questions from a person or persons representing the public included? Interestingly, the Advocate has recently reported that an attorney for the Louisiana Press Association, Mr. Ryan Brown, said, and I quote, "It is unclear whether the council should have held public meetings on the creation of the advisory group and allowed the public comment on that process, that is, establishment of the advisory group, before it was enacted." Reporter David Mitchell went on further to state, that question, frankly, turns on whether what parish officials did was simply seek out added input or add a new element to the council's reappointment process. I believe that the latter is indeed the case. Another very serious concern I have is the fact that in my packet for tonight's meeting, I have only information on the top 10 applicants ranked by the Personnel Committee. 23 citizens completed this application process. Where are the other 13 applicants' answers to the questions listed on the parish application form? Where are these candidates' resumes? And why don't I have their answers to the stakeholder advisory group questions? Am I to understand that you and/or the Personnel Committee expect the full council to rubber stamp the final recommendations without giving us the rest of the information that was available to the full committee? Another major concern that I have is that according to our parish charter, section 421 at B, subtitled Vacancies, quote, any vacancy occurring on any agency heretofore and hereafter created by the governing authority, which would be our parish council, shall be filled within 30 days by the vote of at least a majority of the governing authority, unquote. Commission members were removed on December 19th. 30 days expired on January 18th, which was nearly 3 weeks ago. Therefore, the council is in violation of our own charter. This speaks to the rush to judgment of, as the citizen testified earlier, a lame duck council when they immediately fired all 9 commissioners instead of allowing them to serve until new appointments were made. Mr. Chairman, you have made statements to myself and other councilmen that previous commissioners should not be reappointed. Having served with the 5 men who reapplied, this particularly bothers me. They are hardworking, conscientious, and honorable men who were serving, I believe, our parish very well. Considering the chair's opposite viewpoint, I just have to ask, why were they even allowed to apply? Shamefully, to date, no justification has ever been given for their removal in the first place. Under Louisiana Revised Statute 33103 at Part A, it says, and I quote, the parish governing authority may remove any member of the commission after public hearing for inefficiency, neglect of duty, or malfeasance of office, unquote. These volunteered, unpaid public servants, however, were fired, never being given their day in court. Where is the justice in that? A lot of confusion also exists as to exactly what was the deadline for applications, and there are issues about improper notice to the public. The consistency in numbers of stakeholder advisory group questions received by applicants inappropriately varied as well. By law mandated public notice of commission vacancy in the, quote, parish's official journal, unquote, in fact, did not even appear until January 26th, a full 2 days after Chairman Lohr's emailed deadline for the stakeholder advisory group to return their input. Some applicants who applied early have told me that they were told their completed applications were due on January 20th. Others were told the applications would be accepted up to the 24th, when answers to the stakeholders group's questions were due. In fact, I believe additional applications were accepted all the way through January 30th, the very day the first day of the interview process began. All this uncertainty and confusion has resulted in at least 2 applicants receiving only 12 of the 20 stakeholder group questions, and another applicant interviewing without having responded to any of the 20 questions at all. In addition, due to the increasingly ever pushed back deadline, certain applicants had considerably more time than others to answer these stakeholder group questions. This, I believe, is an unfair practice. There was also a lack of security and control of the stakeholder group question process. As a former college professor, I consider the handling of the group's questions to be analogous to a take-home exam. In other words, there was nothing to prevent applicants from considering other expert individuals, from consulting with them, consulting with the internet, or other sources in formulating their answers. How do we know that the applicants' answers were solely their own? Finally, although the originally intended process of allowing outsiders to rank candidates and to go into executive session to determine finalists were wisely abandoned, certain undue influences remained. Personnel committee councilmen heavily used stakeholder advisory questions during the candidate interviews. I know that because I attended all 23 of them. Thus, the question here remains, will the final questions use the most appropriate ones, considering there was zero citizen input? I'm additionally concerned about the censorship of data used by the Personnel Committee by ranking only 10 out of the 23 applicants, as well as the fact that the chairman's rankings were not included in the final tallies. Such censorship of data, when all applicants are not ranked, can potentially flaw the process. Also, does this mean applicants not given a ranking from 1 to 10 are totally unqualified? And it is quite possible that if each councilman had ranked candidates fully from 1 to 23, then the outcome of selecting the finalists could have been different. Furthermore, the last time replacement planning and zoning commissioners were selected, in December of 2010, when I was seated, the chairman's ranks of candidates were included. Why is there a lack of consistency between then and now? In 2010, the rankings of all Personnel Committee members were also released pursuant to a public records request, whereas there has been a refusal to release the 2012 rankings. Again, why? In my opinion, there are no right or wrong answers to these stakeholder group questions. The majority of their questions are on subjects known to be very controversial in our parish. For example, the topics of smart growth, PUDs, and other mixed-use developments, and the master plan process per se. Therefore, if an applicant has an ideological disagreement with an interviewer's viewpoint of a stakeholders group's question, was said applicant ranked low? Finally, no guidelines were given to Personnel Committee members as to what criteria, knowledge, skills, and abilities, better known as KSAs, that should be used to score the applicants. In summary, the many aforementioned problems and pitfalls of the present commissioner selection process make the potential for a legal challenge likely, and should that happen, the parish might not be able to prevail with the large amount of impropriety that I've documented here. Gentlemen, we can and we need to do better. Thank you for listening.
Okay, any other discussion? Councilman Johnson.
Mr. Panton, as our legal advisor, the questions that were raised here, as far as the process that was followed, do you see anything wrong with that?
No, the stakeholder group was never met. They never convened. The questions were used as input for the process in which the Personnel Committee questioned and selected and makes recommendations. There was never a group met. The alleged group never convened, never talked to each other about their questions, and submitted them to you as input to assist you in questioning the candidates. And the Personnel Committee had the process to use those questions as their own questions, and then follow the process in making recommendations.
Okay. Anything else? Councilman Melancon?
Yeah, mine, as I wasn't able to be at the interviews, all I have to go on as we vote on these is the questionnaire itself. And in Mr. Burgess's questions, I actually had a couple concerns. And in one of them where it asks about renewing the master plan process that was in place before, where it says that a very few people, very few well-minded people were who tabled this. And I just wanted to make a point that not only from people I've talked to all over the parish over the last couple of years, but as I was out campaigning just a couple months ago, there was an overwhelming majority of the people, and it was over thousands of people that I talked to, that were not happy with that process and where it ended up. And I think we ended up in a good place, and if we're going to bring that back up, I think where it needs to end up would be or start off as where we ended up before, where we had a process where it was going to bring together people from the business and our public sector, and also some private citizens, where we can bring something together that everybody's going to agree upon. And I think if we do it any other way, it's not a small group of people. We may only see a small group of people that come to the meetings and speak, but there's an overwhelming majority of the people that I've spoken to over the last couple of years that feel that way, and that's what they want to see. They want to see it something that we can all agree upon.
Okay. Councilman Todd Lambert?
Yeah, one thing, it was brought up that the chairman did not vote. I did rank, and I guess this was a unique situation. We had 24 applicants, so in case of a tie, I was going to use my ranking for us to break a tie. In the past, some of our committee meetings that we've had, only had 3 members. So in order to move forward with a individual, I had to vote in order to make that move forward. And it is the choice of the chairman to whether or not to vote or not, either to make a tie or break a tie, and that was the choice. But my ranking afterwards, I got secretary just to look at it, wouldn't have made a lot of difference. It would have moved a few people around in the top 10, but unfortunately it wouldn't have made that much difference anyway. So just want to make that point.
Okay. Any further discussion? Okay, I have a motion and a second on Mr. Robert Burgess. Any objection?
Object.
I have one objection for Councilman Satterley. Any further objections? We'll go ahead and take a roll call. Ms. Cinnamon?
Councilwoman Cazo.
Yes.
Councilman Klugot.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
Councilman Joseph.
Yes.
Councilman Dempsey Lambert.
Yes.
Councilman Todd Lambert.
Yes.
Councilman Brian Melancon.
No.
Councilman Satterley.
No.
Councilman Turner.
Yes.
Okay, that motion passes, and Mr. Robert Burgess will be on the board. Second.
Second was Mr. Donald Sanjay.
I'll make a motion.
A motion by Councilman Kluwat, a second by Councilman Dempsey Lambert. Any discussion? Any objection?
Object.
One objection. Councilman Satterley. Hearing no others, motion passes, and Donald Sanjay will be on the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Number 3 was Jackie Callender.
Motion by Councilman Travis Turner,
Second.
second by Councilwoman Terry Cazo. Any discussion? Any objection? Hearing none, motion passes, and Jackie Callender will be on the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Number 4 would be Maury Bishop.
Motion by Councilman Dempsey Lambert,
Second.
second by Councilman Randy Kluwat. Any discussion? Any objection?
Object.
One objection by Councilman Satterley. Hearing no others, motion passes, and Mr. Maury Bishop will be on the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Number 5 was Gasper Shafisi.
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Oliver Joseph,
Second.
second by Councilman Terry Cazzo. Any discussion? Any objection? Hearing none, Gasper Chafisi will be on the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Number 6 was Paul Nizo.
Okay, I have a motion for Paul Nizo by Councilman Benny Johnson and a second by Councilman Oliver Joseph. Any discussion?
Yeah.
Councilman Malasan.
Chairman, like I said, not being able to make it to the interviews, all I had was the questionnaires to go by, and just in my own rankings, I wanted to make a substitute motion that we would move Joshua Williams up to this place.
Okay.
In place of Mr. Nizo.
I have a substitute motion by Councilman Malasan for Josh Williams in this place instead.
Second.
A second by Councilman Dan Satterley. Any discussion? Any objection?
Object.
Okay, hearing objections, we will move to a roll call.
Councilwoman Cazzo?
A no vote would be, a yes vote would be for the substitute motion, and a no vote would be, against the substitute motion, which would we'd then revert back to the original, just so everyone's clear.
I'm new to all this, so explain that to me again.
We're voting on the substitute motion, so a yes vote would be in support of Councilman Malasan's substitute to appoint Mr. Williams instead. A no vote would be to reject the substitute motion, and then after this, we would revert to the original.
No.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Terry.
No.
Councilman Kluat?
No.
Councilman Johnson?
No.
Councilman Joseph?
No.
Councilman Dempsey Lambert? No. Councilman Todd Lambert?
Yes.
Councilman Brian Malasan?
Yes.
Councilman Satterley?
Yes.
Councilman Turner?
No.
Okay, the substitute motion has failed. We will vote now on the original motion for Mr. Polonizo, which was a motion by, I think, Councilman Johnson and a second by Councilman Oliver Joseph. We'll go ahead and do a roll call for this one, please, Cinnamon. Thank you.
Councilwoman Cazzo?
Yes.
Councilman Kluat?
Yes.
Councilman Benny Johnson?
Yes.
Councilman Joseph?
Yes.
Councilman Dempsey Lambert?
Yes.
Councilman Todd Lambert?
Yes.
Councilman Malasan?
Yes.
Councilman Satterley?
Yes.
Councilman Turner?
Yes.
Okay, the yeas have it, and the motion passes, and Mr. Paul Nizo will be on the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Number 7, Joshua Ori. Number 7 pick. Motion.
Motion by Councilman Kluat.
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Cazzo.
Mr. Chairman?
Discussion, Councilman Satterley.
I'd like to offer a substitute motion, Mr. Milton Kluat in place of Mr. Ori.
Okay. I have a substitute motion by Councilman Satterley for Mr. Milton Kluat. Do I need a second? Is there a second?
I'll second.
Councilman Malasan will second. So we will, any other discussion on that item? Hearing none, we will take a roll call vote on the substitute motion. Reminder, again, this is the substitute of a vote yes would be in support of the motion for Mr. Milton Kluat by Councilman Satterley. Cinnamon?
Councilwoman Cazzo?
No.
Councilman Kluat?
No.
Councilman Johnson?
No.
Councilman Joseph?
No.
Councilman Dempsey Lambert?
No.
Councilman Todd Lambert?
Yes.
Councilman Malasan?
Yes.
Councilman Satterley?
Yes.
Councilman Turner?
No.
Okay, the substitute motion fails. We will return to the original motion and vote on Mr. Joshua Ori. Cinnamon, please, roll call.
Councilwoman Cazzo?
Yes.
Councilman Kluat?
Yes.
Councilman Johnson?
Yes.
Councilman Joseph? We're voting on Joshua Ori.
Yes.
Councilman Dempsey Lambert?
Yes.
Councilman Todd Lambert?
Yes.
Councilman Malasan?
Yes.
Councilman Satterley?
Yes.
Councilman Turner?
Yes.
Okay, that motion passes, and Mr. Joshua Ori will be on the Planning and Zoning Commission. Item 8B is the approval of the top 4 candidates for the Planning and Zoning Commission to serve a 2-year term, and the remaining 3 to serve a 1-year term beginning on February 8th, 2012.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is the new terms, and the first 4, which would be Mr. Robert Burgess, Donald Sanjay, Jackie Callender, and Maury Bishop, will serve as 2-year terms. Following 1-year terms, Mr. Gasper, Paul Nizo, and Joshua Ori. And we need to vote on this B now.
Motion.
Second.
A motion by Councilman Kluat and a second by Councilwoman Cazo. Any discussion?
Discussion,
Councilman Kluat.
real quick. Has to do with A and B. We have 10 folks here that were brought forward. Committee chairman, what's your normal precedence on that? You know, these 8 to 10 here.
We already got 7, so.
We got 7, so we
I
got
know,
the
but
top
are they
7.
looking in to stay in the till or?
Yeah, well, they can reapply, but
Yes,
there's definitely some
okay.
good applicants that.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Councilman Lambert?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, with that, you know, this planning commission job is a thankless job, and I personally and publicly want to thank every planning commission member that was on the previous board. I thought they did an outstanding job, and I wasn't one of the ones in favor. I just ousted 9 of them, and I publicly want to acknowledge them and thank them for their time served, because it's definitely a thankless job. So, thank you guys.
Okay, thank you. I have a motion and a second on the floor for item 8B. Is there any other discussion? Is there any objection? That motion passes. Before we move on to item 9, I have a few comments that I'd like to share. You know, obviously, the council relies on the Planning and Zoning Commission for recommendations and guidance for managing the growth of this parish. Therefore, we need a working relationship that's based on objectivity and mutual respect, and not one that's been based on some of the games and power struggles that we've found ourselves facing over the last year and a half. I've heard a lot of comments about why we took the action that we did in December. And so these are a few of my reasons. Be it the refusal to sign plats, continuously calling for staff members' resignations, jeopardizing a multi-million-dollar grant and winding up on the front page of The Advocate, tossing a year of work and hundreds of thousands of dollars towards a comprehensive plan in the garbage, and then asking for more money to run its own process. The past Planning and Zoning Commission, to me, had created a climate that was harming our parish economically. There's been some who have spoken tonight about the stakeholder group and the decision to ask the superintendent of schools and the chamber president and the economic development president and the sheriff and the DA for some input and advice on questions into this, for this process. The reason we did that is because every one of those areas, those are leaders of the community that represent major service entities and have a stake in seeing how this parish grows. There is nothing that was done illegally. That is certainly within the purview of the Personnel Committee's right to ask those questions, and I personally want to thank those individuals for doing so. I think I found it very helpful, and I've heard a number of comments from other councilmen who found it very helpful as well as we were conducting those interviews. We spent, as it was said, 8 hours interviewing over 24 applicants. Personally, I don't think the Personnel Committee has ever done a better job than it did with the interview and selection process that we went through. And I want to thank Personnel Chairman Todd Lambert for handling that difficult endeavor. And I also want to thank our Secretary, Ms. Cinnamon Gaultier, for all the extra work that we put on your plate. We have to be able to have a rational conversation about growth and not get involved or not listen to those who are playing the politics of selling fear and spreading falsehoods. I am fully aware of the need to balance our rural heritage and the peace and tranquility that provides with the changing suburban nature of this parish. I personally used to live in a subdivision. I now live on an acre. I got horses across the way. I love it, I never want to go back. I understand it. But if we can't have a rational and objective discussion about the change that we are facing, whether we like it or not, then we are never going to progress forward as a parish. And we have to do this in a respectful and civil manner. And I know that the people that we have chosen tonight have impeccable qualifications, skills, and qualifications. And I have full confidence in their ability to address those issues and the items that come before them with objectivity and fully considering what is in the best interests of Ascension Parish. It's not going to be easy. As it was stated, it's going to be thankless. And so I want to thank them again and express my sincere gratitude that they have chosen to step up and serve on this important commission. But it's time we put this chapter behind us and we move on to the important business of this parish. Item number 9 is a request for qualifications from Ms. Martha Collins. 9A, Community Development Block Grant, Office of Community Development, Disaster Recovery Unit, project number 03PARA3203, the Lemon Center improvements for the city of Donaldsonville. Ms. Martha.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the council. This is one of 13 projects under the LRA, which started. This project is one of 2 for the city of Donaldsonville that's being administered through the parish. In accordance to the Ascension's ordinance for the non-selection engineering committee, met and evaluated by scorecards rating the companies for their proposal and qualifications. The selection committee recommends accepting the highest scoring qualification statement submitted by Meyer Engineering's LTD, and to authorize Parish President Tommy Martinez to sign and execute all documents pertaining to this grant, and/or Ms. Gwen LeBlanc, CFO, for the financial documents.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Randy Cluett, second by Councilman Todd Lambert to accept Meyer Engineers. Any discussion? Any objection? That motion passes. Item 9B, Community Development Block Grant, Office of Community Development Disaster Recovery Unit, project number 03PARA3204, the Department of Public Works building in the city of Donaldsonville. Ms. Martha.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This, too, is one of the Community Development Block Grants for the city of Donaldsonville. In accordance with our ordinance, the Non-Engineering Selection Committee evaluated and scored the responses with the criteria according to the grants. The selection committee recommends accepting the highest scoring qualification statement submitted by Meyer Engineering, LTD, and to authorize Parish President Tommy Martinez to sign and execute all documents, and Ms. Gwen LeBlanc for all financials. I entertain a motion.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Todd Lambert, second by Councilwoman Cazzo for Meyer Engineers. Any discussion? Any objection? That motion passes. Thank you, Martha.
Thank you.
Item number 10 is a zoning review ID 2202.11, Lot 2-A, being a portion of the Little Prairie subdivision for Larry Couvillon, located on the northwest corner of Louisiana Highway 42 and Little Prairie. It's a request to amend the Ascension Parish zoning map from mixed use 2 to mixed use. This item, gentlemen, is for review only. So we will move on to item number 11. Reading of the ordinance to declare a 1997 Freightliner Ferrara pumper as surplus and transfer title pursuant to a cooperative endeavor agreement made a part thereof.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Well, we need to read the ordinance first. Mr. O'Neill Parrington, please. Thank you.
United States of America, State of Louisiana, Parish of Ascension, ordinance purpose to declare 1997 Freightliner Ferrara pump as surplus and transfer title pursuant to a cooperative endeavor agreement attached hereto and made a part hereof. Whereas the Ascension Parish Government Fire Protection District Number 1 owns a 1997 Freightliner Ferrara pumper bearing VIN number 1FV6JLCB9VH838529, that its surplus equipment is no longer needed by the parish. Whereas the town of Sorrento has a need for this equipment, therefore it is ordained that the Ascension Parish Council, as the governing authority in and for the Parish of Ascension, does hereby declare the aforementioned vehicle to be surplus and authorize the conveyance and transfer of all rights, title, and interest in one 1997 Freightliner Ferrara pumper bearing vehicle identification number 1FV6 JLCB 9VH838529 to the town of Sorrento as is and without warranty of any kind for the terms and conditions as set forth in the cooperative endeavor agreement attached hereto and made a part hereof. This ordinance having been submitted to a vote, and the vote herein there as follows.
Thank you, Mr. Parrington. We will Chair would entertain a motion to open the public hearing.
Motion, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Councilman Todd Lambert, second by Councilman Benny Johnson. Anyone wishing to speak, please come forward.
Motion to close.
Motion to
Chairman.
close by Councilman Todd Lambert. Second by Councilman Benny Johnson. Motion to move the ordinance by Councilman Benny Johnson. Second by Councilman Randy Kluwat. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion passes. Before we get to Councilman Todd Lambert, just wanted to say thank you to Lieutenant Roosevelt Hampton, who's here with us tonight. Appreciate it, sir. Councilman Lambert.
Motion to adjourn, Mr. Chairman.
Motion to adjourn. Second by Councilman Johnson. So adjourned.